Okay, so um, I like to start talk about the final project, also talk about the grading policy, and also some of the idea that what I'm looking for. I want to emphasize a few things, which is I think is important for you to get started as soon as possible. Okay, so I already showed the slides about final project. It counts 20%. 12% is about your project, and then 8% is about other teams' project. Okay, so this 20% is a split between two portions. Okay, so just let me repeat: 12% is about your project, and then you're going to each person will be participate in two other teams, which you will be an evaluator or you will be somebody give a suggestion, and each participation is a 4%. So you're expecting to write a short report based on what you have observed about that project, and also maybe what kind of suggestion that you have for that. Okay, so that's what the how we're going to do that. And I'm actually going to come back to this topics. Okay, now I already showed this list of topic before, but I kind of add a couple of them. But I will come back to this. But I want to first talk about how I'm going to grade your homework, grade your final project. Okay, so your project really have a two part. One is your proposal, your idea, which I hope that you will start meeting with each other right after Thanksgiving. Okay, you can start talking about this idea before Thanksgiving. Some of the team already meet with me a couple times during the office hours. So I think you should really get going among yourself, and also talk to me. I can provide you some feedback. So the proposal is not like a 20-page document. The proposal is really just maybe one paragraph about what you want to work on. But this is the result about your first week's meeting. Okay, essentially what I'm saying is I'm not looking for formality. I'm looking at the idea that whether that based on what your preference about your interesting topic, that what is your dream essentially. And then the other 8% is basically I call the demo. So the final project, the demo is going to occur during the finals week. We're going to schedule half an hour Zoom meeting, and then we're going to do that. And during this demo, what I'm looking for is this. So now I'm going to talk about how I'm going to grade the demo session. Okay, for the proposal, I think I'm going to give you 4%. I mean, as long as you are willing to invite me to go to your proposal meeting, and then I actually understand what you're doing, and also your evaluator was there. The evaluator is actually at least feel that you're doing okay for that, then you can get that 4%. So that 4% should be a fairly straightforward case. But here is the demo. The demo, what I'm looking for, look at here what I have. I call it, use the term fast prototyping of a 0.01% of a dream idea. Okay, so I'm not looking for completeness at all. And I'm not looking at complexity at all, but I'm looking for a really interesting idea, but you actually done something to demonstrate that that idea is worth pursuing. Essentially what we do, what I'm saying here. Okay, so what I'm actually really looking at, assuming your program that fast prototyping works. And what do I mean by working? By the way, this is the important thing about object-oriented paradigm. Object-oriented paradigm is that you have a bunch of objects already lying around, okay? JSON object or C++ object or post object, comment object, reaction object, or whatever object is already there. And when you build something, you're just grabbing those existing objects, and then you are basically instantiate those objects. You create a scenario to demonstrate that. Okay, so essentially the object-oriented paradigm itself is basically trying to promote what we call fast prototyping, because you don't need to build the whole thing. For example, I want to prototype a person object. I mean, I don't need to include the eyes, the mouth, the hand, the foot. I don't need to include any of that, but I just include a bunch of, feature that's actually related to what I like to model. And then I can actually start to get my person object running and then connecting with other things as well. Okay, so that's called fast prototyping, and object-oriented language give you a really nice paradigm for you to do that. Okay, so it's not for completeness, but for something that you can get it to run. So essentially, if you have an idea and you actually pick a really nice example and then you get it to run, and that should secure you for your 6%. Okay, by the way, you should get the 6%. I use the word plan, means that you're doing good. Okay, it's average, and the program is running, the idea seems to be fine. You will get your 6% out of the 8% for demo. But I will give you extra 2% if I actually see what you're doing with the dream idea, the idea you have, the quality of the idea is really to push you to that 2%. Okay, extra. So which means that I feel you pick a really, really fantastic idea to do something, which I actually say, particularly I said this one has a broader and positive impact, that this is going to help, for example, solve some COVID issue, or this is going to solve some diversity issue within our society, or this is actually going to help climate change, or to take care of some of the very bad issue in the international relationship, for example. And that idea that's actually being materialized into something that you can actually program in a small space. Of course, this 2% extra probably already will be determined in the proposal. So that's why sometimes I can actually help in your meeting. That's why it's useful for you to invite me to go to at least one session of your meeting, because I can actually give you some idea about what's the potential about the idea you're pursuing. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So if you're not come up with something extremely fantastic in this standard, you will get the 6%. And then you have a proposal, you will get 10% out of the 12%. Okay. So here is the other 8% I'm looking at. It means that you're actually going to evaluate somebody else's proposal. And so this is 4% each, right? So basically, if you just record what's going on in the meeting, you write me like a 1 or 2 paragraph for this thing you're observing, and then you basically will get 3%. Okay, 3 out of 4% for you just record. You're like a note taker about what's going on. But in order for you to get the 4%, the complete 4%, you have to actually participate. You have to listen and make some suggestion to what's happening over there. And then you have to write it down, that what is you think is your suggestion over there. If I see that suggestion is a really, really crucial, excellent suggestion, it's not random suggestion, say, oh, you should use capital letter instead of the lowercase. No, that wouldn't count. Okay, it's counting something contribute to the dream idea. And if I think that's an excellent suggestion, you will get that 1%. In fact, I will definitely give you that 1% if this team developed is actually getting this dream 8%. And I realize that you're the one who actually pushed for that direction. And then that's the excellent suggestion I'm looking for. Okay, so that's how I'm going to grade the homework. I'm not grading based on completeness or even how nice the interface looks like. I'm not looking for interface. I mean, the plain text program, the terminal output is perfectly okay. But I'm looking for a fast prototyping to some potentially really good dream idea. And also, I'm looking for evaluator to be able to provide positive and critical input to other team as well. So it's really a teamwork a kind of a collaboration across team experience that I would like you to have for this. Okay. All right. Any question for the grading policy?
Professor?
Yes, please.
So for the proposal, is the proposal supposed to be written, or should we like record it, or?
One paragraph. One paragraph. You can use one paragraph, and you can use a PowerPoint, and you don't need to hand in for the proposal. You just send it to me. So I will for example, I participate in your meeting, then you can actually just send it to me in probably the around, I would say like 1 week or 1.5 weeks after Thanksgiving.
Okay, and this is my first question. My second question is, how will we be assigned to as observers for the different groups?
I will observe. I will assign.
Oh, you will assign
I will
us. Okay.
assign. I will assign. But that's why I want you to, from now on, you should really just form your team. Start forming your team on some high-level project, which is I'm going to talk about right now. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, so here is some of the idea that I mentioned earlier, but I add a few things. Sorry. So for example, you can analyze some public information like Twitter information. So I'm not, for example, just give you an example about what I'm looking for in terms of, I said it's a 0.01% of a dream. And what I'm saying is that if you want to analyze Twitter, you probably need to analyze millions or even billions of tweets. But no, in this case, you probably just analyze 5 tweets that we download from somewhere. So it's a very small number, but by analyzing this 5 tweets, you're approaching as if it's actually billions, but then you can think about what information you can get from that billion by showing how you're going to get it out from this 5 tweets you have. So essentially 5 tweets is 5 JSON that you're dealing with, okay? And or you're actually looking for a new way of doing social interaction. In fact, I mean, if you think about this, I'm actually, to be honest, when I think about this, I'm thinking about social distancing. I'm thinking about COVID, about how we're interacting with each other. And we have been using email or web or Facebook to do a lot of things. But what other kind of social interaction we can do? And here, I'm actually not looking at a real mobile apps. I'm actually looking at some dumb terminal pretending they are mobile phone, and then they are interacting with each other. And then, so, I mean, of course, the mobile apps is actually going to be among, say, billions of users, like Facebook has 2 billion users. I'm actually thinking about 5 users, maybe even 4. Your group have 4 people. I mean, just show me each of you has a terminal, and then you interact with each other to show that. So that is a 0.01% for that future dream you're going to build. Okay. And the smart fridge, and some of you already talked to me about the idea of a smart fridge and food tracking. And I actually had a talk on YouTube to talk about the smart fridge and what I call ethic-aware computing. So over there, of course, the smart fridge, you can think about, oh, there are so many objects in Nugget Market, and then there are so many things I can do with smart fridge. I'm sorry that over here, smart fridge is just an object. I can define a class fridge. And then I don't need to handle billions of different food items. I'm actually going to take care of 2 items. One of them must be ice cream. That's my mandate. Okay, I'm sorry that I'm just joking about. You can pick whatever food that you want. Just a few pieces of food, but that is going to help you to deal with. I mean, for example, the example I gave in my talk is talk about beer. I mean, beer is something which we really like for party, but on the other hand, it might have an impact for people who have alcohol addiction. And how do we actually be able to do the food tracking and smart fridge to address those special needs? Of course, that's why it's called ethic-aware computing, because the computation is solving an information related problem that has an ethical impact to our society. That's what I'm looking for. That's why it's a smart fridge or social algorithm. Social algorithm is essentially the AI algorithm, such as Facebook or Twitter. They decide what kind of content we like to have. So they initial. I mean, by the way, some of you might have watched the movie called Social Dilemma. If you watch the movie Social Dilemma, you will see that they kind of use a somewhat exaggerated way of describing what's going on in the social media, like a Facebook. They're actually using Facebook as an example. I mean, to be honest with you, I kind of feel that that movie, documentary, I'm not 100% agree with the way they present the material, but it's actually point out a few interesting points related to what I call the social algorithm. And I want you to think about, okay, what's the alternative? If you don't want to do the way Facebook is doing, what's the alternative? How do you deliver the content? I mean, you're not going to deliver billions of content. I'm asking you to deliver, I have 2 content, which one should you deliver? That's called a simplified social algorithm. So it's, again, it's a 0.01% of a dream idea that you want to have. Or you want to do something more engineering. Some of you probably heard about the software called BitTorrent. By the way, if you think about all the JSON RPC stuff you're doing, and also all the my heal and my break, you actually be able to come up with something called your torrent. Means you design a system which allow people to share music, share content in a distributed way. And that is something which is possible as well. And the last one is, I will call it the IoT sensor and monitoring. IoT sensor is basically camera or temperature or motion detector everywhere. And the information being gathered, and then we, based on that information, we try to determine, for example, we want to determine the air quality of Davis, or we want to determine whether people are violating the rule of social distancing for the COVID consideration. Over here, we're not talking about real IoT sensor. We're not talking about monitoring, but we talk about, okay, I just create an object. I call it IoT sensor for air quality, for example. It's an object, it's a software object. I'm going to program the whatever number I want. And then I will be able to show how the sensor is going to pull out information for me to deal with those, okay? So that's kind of the idea. I'm actually trying to convey the 2 messages. Number one is that what kind of direction you can look for. By the way, this is not exclusive. You can actually come out. But the message I really want you to get today is that I want you to think something which is pretty big, but then let object-oriented paradigm to model a very small percent about the real stuff you're going to eventually build. So you think about if you're doing a startup company or you're doing a new services which disruptive to the technology world, it started with something simple as this. And then once you start seeing this working, then you have a demonstration, then you look for other things to enhance, to actually be able to do a much more successful project. Maybe after you graduate, you can actually do that. But it's not too early for you to start thinking about this, okay? All right, any question? Hey, Kimberly, you like ice cream, I like ice cream too, okay? So I hope you, whatever you build, it has to have ice cream, okay? Okay, I'm going to stop recording here and